as a big Randolph Planck. I'm a lead designer at Reliance Games. I've been in the games industry for, this is 20 years for me this year. I started on PlayStation 1 launch titles, and I've been transitioning through every major platform launch since then. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, dabbled in PS3, but went right into online gaming, and then transitioned into Facebook games. And in the last 5 years, I've been going into mobile and free-to-play exclusively. My view on this particular presentation is, in my mind, I've looked at the schedule, and I'm going to go off script a little bit. But you guys have seen a lot of presentations on, monetization strategies and different things like that, all sorts of diagrams. So what I don't ever hear anyone talk about is, when I first started in the industry, what GDC was for, well, by game developers, for game developers. And in that aspect, I rarely see anything that actually talks about what you should probably go through, or what is some of the experiences that people share with each other in the actual development cycle, with like getting along with team members or facing problems you see in the actual development process. Most people are focused on strategies in terms of monetization or compulsion loops or things like that. And that's in mobile, but in other areas as well. These are the things I'm used to seeing. So I'm going to go into that a little bit as well, but I'll start with these 5 major issues that I see just in mobile game design. But I'll come back to that, so keep that in your mind as I go. What I see in mobile game design is a neglect, or people tend to take the tutorial process for granted. And the tutorial process is basically your opportunity to introduce players to your experience. You're not just teaching them gameplay mechanics, you're actually trying to demonstrate the value of your product, the value of the experience. It's not enough to just say, give them a naked experience and expect them to give you money. You're basically monetizing fun. And I think that's the pitfall a lot of people fall into in the games industry, is that you find yourself in a situation where you're focused on prioritizing profit above the player. And if you always put yourself in the aspect of the player's shoes and looking at the experience from that perspective, I think it's usually been a lot better off holistically. When I have conversations with my own team members, and when I have conversations with other people in the games industry, and I just see that feedback when I look at forums and I see players complaining, and also just the actual results. Players want to be, when they go into your experience, they want to forget about the world they're in. They want to just dive into the experience. They don't want to have to think or fight or argue with your UI design. So the tutorial design is huge in that aspect, because you're teaching the player the core gameplay mechanics, and as you go in, you're introducing concepts of the game itself. This feeds right into the solid UX design, and I don't mean just user interface. There's signs and feedback. There's some people from Ubisoft. That's a big terminology for them, signs and feedbacks. Other people use signposts, but basically what it means is just the UI design, and like giving the players feedback, and giving the player an understanding of what they need to do next. That isn't enough. You actually have to understand the player's mindset based upon your platform, the genre that you chose, the control mechanics that you used, and the experience ongoing.